Welcome to another episode of Behind the Schemes, where we get to see what makes people tick, what's their secret sauce, how they just thrive and overcome all types of different challenges in their lives. I'm your co-host Danny, right here with my lovely mother Kenice Middleton, who's going to introduce our next special guest.
So excited to have a man of many talents. We have Mathew Hebert here today, who has a Washington, D.C. based company in the event planning space. But in the height of the pandemic, he pivoted, has created this wonderful Divine by Design company that's really focused on vacation rentals and retreats. We'd love to hear more about that. In addition to that hat, he also has a CBD oil company that he started some time ago as well. So Mathew is a man of many talents, wearing different
You're a
hats.
Renaissance man.
Can't wait to hear about his secret sauce, because these are all different companies that kind of work in unison, I think, to help people and to benefit different aspects of the human spirit. So, Mathew, got to hear about your secret sauce. How do you navigate it all?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. And Danny is a longtime friend. It takes one to know one, so I'm certainly in good company. And the initiatives that I founded pre-pandemic and certainly during the pandemic were to try and leave a positive footprint, in this lifetime on the planet. And so, speaking specifically about the CBD oil company, I wanted to provide a platform for a more holistic opportunity for people to engage in a better approach to mental health versus an alternative. Certainly big pharma is a player in the mental health game, and we wanted to try and provide a more holistic approach through love, and something that was from the earth and more natural. And then that ties into what I founded with Divine by Design, which is the retreat company that I launched a few months ago. My pre-pandemic job was large-scale events in the District of Columbia, our nation's capital, where we were hosting 200 to 400 person events on a weekly basis. It could have been a wedding or a political event, a charity gala, black tie event. And obviously our doors have been closed because we've been unable to gather in those types of numbers since last March. So I thought, what a great way to bring people together, especially people that are experiencing sort of the COVID fatigue, if you will, in smaller groups, and to really sacred locations around the planet to reinvigorate the spirit of those individuals, and then have them take that experience and that love, that cultivation back to their community and redistribute that. And that's where the power lies, is not within me, myself, or within the company or the opportunity, but it's planting those seeds of hope and experience, and then having them be redistributed into the communities that the people take that back to. And that's where I get the most out of it.
Wow. So I would say your secret sauce is servitude, being in service of others. That's
absolutely.
I mean,
I feel very 100%. I feel very humbled to have people view me as someone who can shepherd them on, an excursion into the jungle in Costa Rica or Mexico or Colombia, and trust me with their lives and their consciousness and their love and their souls. And if we can do anything to enrich that experience in the physical, then I think we've succeeded.
So what would you say you bring from your childhood into business today and into your daily work and your service and others?
Well, I'm very lucky that I have a wonderful relationship with my parents, and I honor that relationship very deeply. I would say my mother is one of my best friends in the whole world, and if she's watching this later, hey mom. But they were very entrepreneurial, in their upbringing of me, and kind of instilled in me the mantra that, you know, you can do whatever you want to do in this life. And they were extremely supportive, whether I wanted to be a marine biologist or an astronaut, in pushing me towards those various opportunities. And the old adage is variety is the spice of life. And I think having had, you know, that sort of jack of all trades approach has allowed me to have a really beautiful and very diverse perspective on humanity as a whole. And I think that's really served me well with some of these initiatives that I've founded.
Did you have a plan for sort of what you wanted to do when you grew up? Did you have, like, it sounds like you had a varied plan, but I'm curious about, you know, if there's something else you would have been doing, or if you had a plan to do something else aside from the
Sure.
businesses you started.
It's interesting you say that, because I think the only constant in life is change. And I definitely, when I was younger, I wanted to be a professional basketball. I, you know, played basketball my whole life. I wanted to be a marine biologist, and life just kind of ebbs and flows in certain ways, that some doors close, but then others open. And if you stay present within the flow of life, then you can be intentional about taking advantages of some of those opportunities that come your way. And I was very blessed to grow up in Washington, D.C., which is an incredibly diverse and rich and informative community, and happened to meet some of the correct people at the right time who really influenced my journey in a beautiful way. And I'll always be in their debt, and as you alluded to, Danny, in the servitude of those individuals for the knowledge that they gave me. And you know, if curiosity can be my greatest asset, the least I can do is give back.
Well, I want to just say shout out to Mom, because it sounds like she really ingrained that freedom of spirit in you as a child, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. So shout out to Mom.
Mom to mom. Mom to mom, shout out. So what would you say? I guess obviously you're a man of many talents, and I think it takes certain skill sets to really capitalize on opportunities, and or to have the confidence to go after them. You know, as you've alluded to, not everyone, you know, was or has been as fortunate in COVID and being able to kind of make a business pivot, you know, and start something new and refreshing, and still see, you know, the beauty in life. What would you say is one of the best skills that, you know, that helps in all aspects of life?
Well, I think when you can remain incredibly present in the moment and just take a look around at the world and say, you know, it's just beautiful to be alive. And the physical vessel, the consciousness, the love that we can feel as being human drives my ship in any direction that I want to go. And it's as a result of that love and that knowledge and that presence that allows me to pivot, you know, in a much easier way through the spirit of connection. I think our greatest asset as humans is each other, and a lot of people forget that. And I think the pandemic certainly impacted that ability to feel close to one another. And the more that you can express and be intentional about saying, I'm here for you, I've got your back, reaching out to someone when you're thinking about them, it makes a real impact. And that's something that has always been ingrained deep into my soul. And it's through those various channels and relationships that I've been able to leverage and certainly to pivot my life with, I think, a greater ease than some other individuals. And again, the whole genesis of the retreat idea was to bring people into this space and to be a Sherpa or a teacher, to give these ideas to individuals that may be struggling or lost within the paradigm that we currently exist in, and to show them that there are other ways to still really live an extraordinary life, regardless of the circumstances that life deals you.
You know, I was going to ask you what do you feel most proud of, but I want to flip that and ask you about your biggest business challenge, because I have a feeling that you're going to give us something that feels good and that's so positive, because I feel like as you've navigated your life, just from hearing everything you're saying now, that you found a positive way to manage through difficulty. So I want to know what your biggest business challenge has been to date, and how did you overcome it?
Sure. Well, that's a wonderful question, and something that I've certainly, marinated on with every opportunity that I've ever tried to engage in, whether personal or professional. And, I think most people would probably say like money is the biggest challenge, right? But money is frankly just a tool. I think the biggest challenge has always been to realize that whatever endeavor you decide to pursue in life, whether personal or professional, that everything is a teachable opportunity. I've had many businesses fail, and you can either sort of sulk in the corner, or you can look back at it and say, what did this show me? What did this teach me? How can I learn from that? And how can I better myself moving forward? And so I think the challenge of sort of bringing everything together and keeping the idea train moving forward has always been to stay present, and to realize that whether a business is a success or a failure is frankly irrelevant, because everything is just information that you can really learn from. And ultimately, I've had some successes as I've proceeded because of those failures, and it's because of those early challenges that I've been able to mold myself into a better human, a better businessman, a better son, a better partner, a better everything. And I think the constant challenge is to always be in that state of mind that I'm never complete. I want to be curious till I leave this planet in the physical. I want to be in constant evolution and bettering myself with knowledge. And so I think that's where the challenge lies, is to remain in that constant motion of whether something good or bad happens, just learning from it on a really deep level, and bettering yourself for the next thing that comes along.
Thank you so much for that. I'm so glad I asked that question, because I know I just knew how it would likely make me feel. Because even for me, hearing that, it's not the success or failure of it. It's the mindset and the space that you keep yourself in. So thank you for that, Daniel.
Absolutely.
I know we're almost at time. I know Daniel wants to ask you something else before we go. So go ahead, Daniel. Shoot. I can tell.
Yeah, no. So I was just going to say, from your experiences and from your learnings, especially through the failures, what has those lessons and those failures taught you about the customer is always right?
Oh, wow. Well, I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I think something that I had a wonderful conversation about the other day with a great friend of mine in Tulum, Mexico. We took a deep dive into the difference between sympathy and empathy. Okay. And a lot of people use those words as synonyms, but they're really not.
No, they're
to
not.
Sympathize with someone is to just kind of relate to them and say, I understand you, but I'm sorry. To empathize with someone is to fully put yourself in that individual's shoes, to walk a mile in their shoes. And that's something that I've really tried to be in the practice of, is empathizing with people. And circling back to the customer's always right, whether I agree or disagree with XYZ individual, if I can empathize with them and put myself in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, then that can make me a more successful business leader moving forward, because I have a greater knowledge and a greater perspective of just humanity as a whole and where people are coming from. Because not everyone has a different walk of life. Everyone has a different path. Everyone has a different upbringing. And the more that I can listen and really empathize with people, the more successful I can be.
So the one thing that's so profound about that is Danny and I have these conversations about leadership all the time. And one of, I think, the biggest challenges with leaders that lack that is that as soon as they can get that, however it's taught or ingrained or however it magically becomes a part of their existence, that helps with sexism, ageism, racism, all of the isms, because you can feel where someone's coming from. So, thank you for saying that, because
yeah. And
because
there is such a thing with, leading with confidence without having an ego.
Yes.
I can be a leader of humanity without viewing myself as the end all be all of XYZ situation. And I think that's something that, as you mentioned, a lot of people really struggle with, is sort of still maintaining that confidence in a situation and able to empathize with a client who may disagree with you, but not bringing ego into the situation. And it's been a long journey for me, and I hope to continue to both share the knowledge that I've ascertained and continue to evolve myself so that I can, continue to sow those seeds of love and intention.
Mathew, this has been incredibly just a magnificent and wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for taking the time with us. We want to close with sharing any of your IG websites, anything that you have from your different businesses that you'd like to share with people. Please let us know how people can find you and follow your businesses and what you're doing.
Sure. Wonderful. So the Neighborhood Pharmacy is the CBD oil company, website by the same name. We're offering a portfolio of really beautiful holistic products that are wonderful for, just overall health. As far as the retreat company is concerned, Divine by Design is the name, at Divine by Design. Email us at dbdretreats.com if you're interested in finding out some more information, and website by the same name. And we have a sort of questionnaire on the website that you can fill out and just tell us what you're interested in doing in life. And we can try and create a package or a portfolio for you to create sort of the magic that you're maybe looking for, that spark that you've always been looking for. We want to try and generate that. And I think we're more than capable of doing so.
Hey, thank you so much. That's wonderful. We appreciate your time and just being here with us. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. This was great.